I'm Loren Lockman. In this short video, I'm going to be talking with you a little bit about Candida albicans and how you can eliminate that issue if you're dealing with it. Well, Candida has become a very common problem today, and it's so common because antibiotics, birth control pills for women, many other pharmaceutical drugs, and even some of the things that people both eat and believe are healthy to eat are exacerbating the problem with Candida. How does this happen? Well, Candida albicans is a yeast that occurs naturally in virtually everybody. 99.9% of the population supposedly carries this yeast. When our gut flora, the bacteria in the digestive tract, are healthy, they prevent the yeast from taking over. But what happens is, we consume any of the medications or even some of these foods I'm referring to, and what happens is we kill off the beneficial bacteria in the body that prevent the yeast from taking over, and the yeast now grow unchecked by anything that prevents them from flourishing. And so in order to eliminate Candida, what we need to do is find a way to kill off the yeast without harming the beneficial bacteria. Now, there are things that you can do. Medicine has some answers for you. There are some very, very potent drugs that you can take. Unfortunately, what they tend to do is kill not only the yeast, but the beneficial organisms in your body as well. And you may not be aware of this, but not only can we not be healthy, we can't even be alive without the beneficial organisms that live in our bodies. So we may want to be careful about doing something that actually begins to kill off those beneficial organisms. There is another way. For the last 14 years, I've been supervising water-only fasts of anywhere from 1 to 9 weeks. And what happens when we fast with Candida is the yeast, which feed on the food, the sugar that we're either consuming or producing as a result of consuming food, they feed on this sugar before we get a chance to. They flourish when we're eating, almost regardless of what we're eating. Obviously, if we're eating a lot of processed sugar or a lot of complex carbohydrates in the presence of real fiber, we're winding up giving them tons of food. This is further exacerbated in a standard American diet or many alternative diets that still contain excessive amounts of fat. The average American is consuming roughly 30% of their calories from fat. And when this fat is in the bloodstream, the body has a harder time processing the sugar. The sugar is available to the yeast longer, and that means the yeast have a better chance of being able to feed on it and use it for their own benefit, rather than allowing those nutrients to benefit us. Our bodies run on sugar, but not processed sugar. Okay, that creates problems for us. So when we fast, what happens is the yeast immediately begin to starve because they have no food. There's nothing to feed them because there's nothing coming in. But don't the beneficial bacteria starve too? Well, fortunately, the beneficial organisms in our body benefit us precisely because they live on dead and dying tissue. They're essentially nature's garbage men. They're in our bodies helping us to eliminate the very things that we don't want. So when we're fasting, the yeast are starving because they're not being fed. The bacteria continue to get everything they need to flourish, and we wind up taking this imbalance of yeast to bacteria and being able to shift it. Now, what I found over the last 14 years of fasting more than 2,000 people, and many of them with Candida problems. In fact, I suffered from a severe Candida, systemic Candida infection myself 25 years ago. What I find is that it typically takes at least 21 days of only consuming water in order to be able to eliminate the Candida. Now, before you say, okay, great, I'm going to go start drinking water and not consume anything else, you need to understand this is not safe to do on your own. It's important to understand what is and what is not okay. And fasting on your own is not a good idea. Going 21 days without food is not a good idea unless you've got proper experienced supervision. Okay? when you're at a fasting center like the Tanglewood Wellness Center or one of the other ones, we check your vital signs every single day to make sure that you are safe, that you are okay. Now, it's important to understand that if you've got Candida albicans and you want to eliminate it through fasting, you're probably not going to feel great while you're going through the process. In fact, we had a young woman here that had a raging Candida problem, and she just completed a fast of 21 days. And she felt pretty toxic the entire time. Imagine how you would feel if your bloodstream was full of yeast as those yeast begin to die off. You've got all these dead organisms floating around your bloodstream. Until your body can process them out of your system, you don't feel very good. And so she felt very toxic and very tired and, in fact, exhausted. And this is a typical response. 7, 10, 14 days later, she's a completely different person because she's been able to, again, shift that balance by killing off most of the yeast. And you don't have to kill them all off. Remember, they're always in the body. All we need to do is recreate the original balance. As long as the bacteria have the upper hand, they're going to be able to keep the yeast from taking over. So all we need to do is bring this to here, and we're okay. And then, because imagine before, if almost everything you're eating is feeding the yeast rather than feeding yourself, you're not going to feel or function very well. You're not going to be getting what you need from your food. And in fact, you've essentially got a still in your body. Still is where they make alcohol. Well, what happens when you combine yeast with sugar? You wind up with alcohol. So when you've got a Candida problem, you're constantly producing small amounts of alcohol right in your body. And it's hard to feel or function very well if you have alcohol constantly entering your bloodstream on a constant basis. Okay? So 21 days fasting is the minimum for most people with Candida. If you can do more than that, you'd be wise to do more. But remember, this is something that needs to be supervised to be safe, and most of the time, just to be effective. Because most people don't even know on their own what is and is not okay. And then it's important to have proper refeeding at the end of that. Because if you don't do that properly, you can wind up taking that Candida problem and recreating it instantly. Okay, having done all this work to cleanse your body, you probably want to make the best choices so that you can continue to enjoy an incredibly high level of health, which you can do. If we can help you in that regard or in any regard, feel free to contact us. At the end of this video, you'll see our URL on the screen. Send us an email. Subscribe to our mailing list. We'll be sending you lots of great free information, and we are here to assist you in any way we can. If you're dealing with Candida or any other condition and want to function at the highest level possible, you can. Perfect health can be yours, and if I can help you, I'd be glad to help you. 25 years ago, I figured out how to get rid of my Candida infection after 3 years. Since then, I haven't been sick a single day. You can experience exactly the same thing. More energy, more vitality, more mental clarity than you've ever had before. You can have that. Let us know if we can help you. Thanks for joining me.